Davis Merritt. We'll just jump right into questions. Jim, you want to start us off?
Sure. Davis, we asked Rick about that second half turnaround.
Yep.
They quickly took the lead, and really you played complimentary football.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not in a flash, but pretty close to it.
Yeah.
If you could address that time frame and going forward in the game.
There's going to be highs and lows in every game, and certainly, we were feeling good, and all of a sudden, you get punched in the face, or how you going to respond to adversity. And I thought our guys, through the ups and downs of the game, we're still confident on the sideline. We got each other's backs. I know as a defensive coach, I love having Coach Bowie in that offense, to help pick us up when we are struggling. But, I thought that was one big thing we talk about. It was going to be a 60-minute game, 60 minutes, however long it takes, and our guys didn't blink, kept fighting, and, obviously got the job done at the end.
Coming into this game, of course, over the offseason, the emphasis was stopping the run game after last year. There was a couple of explosive plays, but for the most part, I felt like you guys were meeting them at the line to get behind the line of those TFLs. How do you assess that first game? Yeah,
that's something you got to hang your hat on. You got to be able to stop the run. And, you go back and you look at it, I think there was about 150 yards rushing, taking away the quarterback scrambles. You take away the 2 long runs, it's about 20 carries for 47 yards. You can win doing that. But guess what? Those 2 runs count. So we got to be able to eliminate those explosives, find a way to get guys on the ground and play the next play. So that's a big thing, make sure we get it corrected moving forward this week.
And one of those big ones comes from the quarterback block.
Oh, yeah.
That honestly, it kind of seems like that's something that's been an issue at Western Kentucky over the years.
Yeah.
Is it specific to this program, or do you think it's everywhere?
No, I think when you start running the quarterback, I feel like you're playing with 13 people on offense. That's problematic. They're playing with 11. You got to play with 11 on defense. So multiple schemes. Some of those are schematic issues. Across college football. So sometimes you got to check what butt and get off a block and get the guy down. So just add it to the toolbox and make sure we get it nailed away for this week, because this offense is very potent. They're playing from North Al. They love to run the football. They rushed for over 100 yards. I believe it was 9 games last year. I think 4 games rushed for over 200 yards. So we got our work cut out this week.
Jalen Lewis had that interception in the second half. Just to get the turnover chain going in this season, how big was that for the defense?
Huge, and the best part is J. Lou does that in practice all the time. So to be able to see him do that in practice, then doing it out there on the game, that was awesome. We say pass rush and coverage go hand in hand. So I think on that play, Don was pressuring their quarterback. J. Lou made a great play. Kent was in great coverage. So again, guys is doing their job and at a high level, and be able to see that guy make that play was awesome.
Seems to be a colorful player, Jalen.
Oh yeah,
Tell me a little bit about that.
That post game interview, we were D staff were laughing about that. But no, there's a bunch of really good guys and a bunch of new faces, but guys that have balled in and said, "Hey, I love this program." They show up to practice, work their butts off. A connected team, connected defense. That's the beauty of defense, of 11 guys playing as fast and as hard as they can. They've bought into what we're trying to do here and play championship defense. To see those guys have those plays, man, it was exciting to see. Exciting to see.
How did you feel about your defensive line push against a pretty experienced offensive line?
Correct. I thought the front played really, really, really well, striking at the point of attack. Like I said, whether we were chopping it up or playing base mode, I thought they did a really good job. We were able to roll some people through there, not just play with the same 4 guys. So the depth of the front between the edges and the D-line I thought was really good, and I thought they performed a really good job against a good O-line, like you said. I was very pleased.
How pleased were you with how clean the play was? Only 2 penalties across the board for the whole game for the team.
Yeah, the penalty, we got undisciplined penalties, you get your butt beat. So Brackenridge, we got to be smart about that. It starts with me as a coach. Again, we got to communicate it and talk about it. They're always going to protect the quarterback, so you got to be smart down there, because that would have been 3rd and goal on the 3. Now they got 1st and goal at the 1, or whatever it was. So that's it's a huge penalty. We'll learn from it. Make sure we don't have it happen again.
Coach, quarterback broke contain a couple of times last Saturday. North Alabama is known for having a running quarterback in the game. How important is that coming into this week to emphasize, you can't have that mistakes again that's coming?
Got to rush as a unit, cage the quarterback. As soon as I start peeking here, the guy, starts to work up the other side. So again, understanding where the rush lanes are, balancing the rush, being disciplined in my job. I can't peek. Some of them are just effort plays. I got us 4 or 5, whoever we're in charge, got to find a way to get the guy down. So whether you spy him, whether it's 4-man rush, 3-man rush, you bring 6, whatever it is, I got to understand what is my job and cage that guy in there.
Dave Farrar ended up leading you guys in tackles.
Yeah.
I think last year his season I was against Sam Hughes.
Yeah.
Just kind of tell me about his role.
So proud of Dave. Guy, like I said, through camp has worked through all summer, just worked his butt off. Is up there watching tape with Coach Vaughn extra all the time. Stays engaged, and again, he does it in practice, so it's not a surprise when he does it on game day. Just he's made tremendous strides through camp, carried it over the season, so it was really good to see him have that success.
Coach, you lost Ali in the back end. How crucial is it to get a guy like that, number one, back? And then how important is it for you to have the next guy to step up?
Best part, of having a good defense is having good players, and Coach Vaughn's done a great job of getting a lot of depth in that room. Ali's a big piece, but whether I don't talk about injuries, but whoever goes out there, I know they'll be able to make the calls, make the checks, and be able to run the show back there.
Thank you, Coach.